Seen it happen. They come home crying after another awful day with friends who have whispered about them, excluded them, or laughed at their expense. And you've tried to talk to them. You've tried to comfort them. And this time you think after talking to them, they're going to choose better. When they go in tomorrow, they're going to stand up for themselves. And then the next day comes and they go right back to the same group that keeps hurting them. So today I'm going to tell you the real reason that your child keeps going back. And it actually has nothing to do with weakness or low self-esteem or self-worth or not listening. It's all got to do with survival. And once you understand that, you'll finally be able to help them break that cycle. So let's name the pattern, right? Because this is what I hear so many parents inside my Fight Back Against Toxic Friends and Bullies program talking about. They come home in tears and then they still want to be invited to the sleepover. They say that they feel really hurt and upset and then still call them their best friends. They actually know it's toxic. So why do they keep going back? You're actually watching your child return to the same people who make them feel small. You're giving them advice. You're coaching them through it. You're actually doing everything you can. I see you. I get it. I've been there. I actually was that child with my mum trying to talk me out of spending time with those people, but nothing changes. And here's why. This has absolutely nothing to do with logic and all to do with safety wiring. Your child is returning to toxic friendships, not because they want to be hurt, but because it actually feels safer for them than being alone. It actually is more validating for them than being alone. So it's like a bird that keeps going back to a nest that's full of snakes because it doesn't know where else it feels safe. Or it's like a lion cub staying close to the pride, even if it keeps getting nudged out. Because being left behind in the wild is like death. So to your child, belonging is survival. Even if that belonging comes at a cost to their self-worth. This is what I call the survival loop. They stay in those toxic friends and those toxic connections because it feels familiar. Because being rejected by them is actually starting to feel normal because isolation actually feels worse than exclusion. And unless we actually interrupt that loop, they're going to keep going back. So here's what I notice that parents say, and it's very well-meaning and I get it, but I know it actually doesn't work. So things like, just find better friends. They're not worth your time. Just stand up for yourself. You deserve better than this. And while that's actually all true, it's not going to land. It's not going to land because your child doesn't feel safe enough to believe it. They actually don't have the self-awareness to know that it's true. And that is the foundation. So here's what I teach inside Fight Back Against Toxic Friends and Bullies. And this is what I teach instead. Tell them it makes sense you want to go back. It makes sense that you want to go back. That group feels familiar and comfortable, even if it doesn't feel good. Because this helps them release that shame and opens the door to change. So telling them that you understand, empathizing with them. The next step is to name the pattern. So help them see what's happening in the language that they understand. So you could say something like, every time you feel left out, you try to be liked more. But the more you do that, the more it's hurting you because you keep coming back to being hurt again. And that's actually not friendship, that's fear. So another way that I do it is when there is a child that's being nasty, I say, when you think about that friend, how do they make you feel? And when you think of a nice friend, so one that's nice to them all the time, how do they make you feel in your body? And then comparing them. So the third step is actually to offer a new model of safety. So this is the most important piece. You don't just pull them out of the unsafe group. You can't just sort of pull them out and think that they're going to survive. They won't know what to do. They're going to go straight back. You need to give them the tools to find and recognize safe relationships. So that conversation starter that I just said, what does this friend make you feel like compared to what this nice friend makes you feel like? And then having a conversation about comparing those two, that's a great way to start modeling what a safe friendship looks like. So if this is your child, sorry, this is just, so if this is your child and you've watched them go back to that same hurtful friendship again and again, I want you to hear this. They're actually not choosing pain. They're choosing the only version of connection that they know, that they've been shown, that they're comfortable in. But you and I can change that. And I do that inside Fight Back Against Toxic Friends and Bullies. I give you and your child the exact tools to break the survival loop, the scripts to help them navigate those painful friendships and doing it in a safe way. I also give you emotional strategies to rewire their sense of self-worth, which is very important. It all starts with self-awareness to be able to build this up. And most importantly, I give you ways to help them rebuild their internal GPS so that they stop walking back into those toxic friendships because they're familiar. So if you know that this is what you need, this is what your child needs now, because they are struggling with those type of friendships, which is so common, I want you to comment the word program when I end this live, and I will send you the link for Fight Back Against Toxic Friends and Bullies, because I know that it works. I know that you're going to get the transformations that you need and your child needs to feel better about themselves and to rebuild their self-worth. And isn't that what we all want? Just kids that are happy, that feel safe, that feel like they are worth something in their friendships. So comment the word program after this live, and I will see you in there. Have a lovely rest of your day.